I feel excited.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I'm here with David, Bon, and Cali.
What up?
What's up, bro? We're gonna ask him some questions today, man.
I'm excited. Sweet. So we'll open my apartment. This is where all the craziness happens, and we got a bunch of different items. So you know, when the girls come over, we always gotta have some funny toys, stuff like that. I like to live in a 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, and the reason for that is because I like extra space, and also when girls sleep over, it's much better if they can have their own room, you know? So I always make sure to have like a security camera. This is another thing people always ask about, how to be safe. And the whole thing, there's a lot of precautions that I take. I'm really selective about who I invite over. And I have a security camera, you know, I have an assistant that can help make sure, and if girls are really bad, then they can get spanked. But yeah, so he's gonna ask me some questions. I guess we could just like sit on the couch, chill. If you want some wine or whatever, you know.
Cool. All right, bro, let's get into it. So Dave, how did you discover Colombia?
So I got COVID in Nicaragua. This is something no one's ever heard about, by the way. I got COVID in Nicaragua. I was one of those asymptomatic ones who has no symptoms and doesn't even feel like he's sick. I couldn't leave Nicaragua, and I couldn't go to America because of the COVID thing. But Colombia had no test to get in. So whenever I recovered, which again, I didn't even feel sick, I went to Colombia, and they let me in, and I started traveling with Bradicus. You know who Bradicus is?
No.
Bradicus is another, just stay right there, 1 second. I'm always getting crazy videos. Okay. Veronica is another like guy like me who makes videos and stuff. We went to Cali, and I just stayed here. I met some girls, and you know, I started to like it, so I stayed. And then I came back, and this is like my 4th time in a row, I think.
Hell yeah. So like, why Cali? Why not like Medellin or Cartagena or any other place?
So I have a thing, I call it Bottles Theorem. So Bottles Theorem is a rule that I invented, and it's an observation about what makes a good dating environment, what makes a bad dating environment.
Big city close to the equator.
So Bottles Theorem stands for Bond's optimal dating location. And my observation traveling for 10 years is when a place meets one or both requirements that I'm about to state, it tends to be a really good place to date. So the closer the equator, the better, and large cities that are lived in but not visited. When you go to large cities that are lived in but not visited, there's something about that combination that creates a great dating culture. So Cali is an example. Cali is like not visited at all. It's one of those like 3rd-rate cities that no one's ever heard of, right? Medellin is where everyone goes. That's where all the tourists goes. And prostitutes always like to go where the tourist goes. Scammers like to go where the tourist goes. The dating environment is more competitive when there's more tourists because the financial ceiling of the men is higher. So the more fun that they can afford is higher, right? So also because it's a bigger city with more tourists, there's more parties and fun things to do there. And when you're inviting a girl on a date, her options in a big city that's full of parties, she has more options. So your date is not going to stand out as much. Whereas when you go to a city that's boring, girls will meet up with you, like the conversion shoots through the roof because your invite is now competing with almost nothing. So according to Bottles Theorem, Cali would be a good spot, and it is a fantastic spot.
Got it.
Very much.
So like, if you could pick any other city in Colombia besides Cali, you would go to Bogota?
Bogota is, it fits Bottles Theorem perfectly because it's a large city that's lived in but not visited. Most people are not like saying like, yo, let's go to Bogota. Like Bogota is big, it's dirty, it's cold, it's boring. But that's great for dating. You go there and girls are just bored out of their minds. They can't believe that you're there. They can't believe that you're inviting them to something fun. And you know, for me, the currency of sexuality is fun. Women want to have fun, and the guy who can provide the most fun is going to win. So when you go to a place where there's no fun, there's no supply. You're the only supply, right. And I get high on my own supply. So.
Right. So, like if you could pick any other location in the world besides Colombia, where would you pick?
To live, probably Bangkok. I think Bangkok's the best city on earth. It has everything you want. Cheap, hot women, it's great. It's really like basically the greatest, you know, in my personal opinion. I think that's an easy answer.
Gotcha. Will you ever return to the United States to live?
So I go back home to the United States usually like every 2 to 4 months, and it's mostly to get Amazon packages, to do family stuff, and to reload on debit cards, because I always lose my debit cards and credit cards, you know. When I'm there, it's usually when I'm burned out. So if I go home, it's always just to kind of chill and kind of recharge the batteries, you know. But as far as like spending extended periods of time in the United States, I don't really have interest in that, because there's not a big reason for me to stay there other than friends and family. And if friends and family were gone, I don't even know if I would ever go there, to be honest. Like, you know, America's a great place philosophically. Like, you know, the freedoms that we got, and the legal system's pretty good. But, you know, if you're a young guy that wants to have, you know, a good time, it's just not the place, you know. Unless you have like a lot of money, which is fine, but a lot of money can go way farther other places. So it's just kind of foolish to like spend your time in places where your money doesn't go far.
So you don't have any like permanent residence? You just...
No permanent residence. I mean, I have a friend's house who I receive mail at. That's it. I don't really, you know, understand, like the idea of a permanent residence, the idea of having a home is kind of like, it's ingrained in our mind, but like, you don't need it. You know, all you need is luggage, some clothes, a laptop. Right. Like, you actually don't need, most people think they need things. They don't need things. They need basic things, you know? They don't need, we have Airbnb, we have apartments, we have hotels. There's just like no reason to like have furniture and have a fucking refrigerator. Like these are like boomer concepts to me. You know what I mean? Like everything could be rented, everything could be borrowed. You know, having your mobility and having your freedom is just like way more important than having a refrigerator, you know, so.
True. So like for people trying to like mimic your lifestyle and like earn money remotely, like what's your advice to them? Like to get out of their job and do exactly what you're doing? Yeah, like so, what's step one? Yeah, so the biggest point of leverage right now, as far as like making money online, is obviously social media. People are making money on social media. It's easier than ever to build up an audience. You know, make some TikToks, make some Instagram posts, make some YouTube videos. Just share what you're passionate about, share what you're into, and people will resonate with it. And once you build up a small audience, people are willing to buy from you. Once people trust you, and once people believe that you have the answers, you can sell them the answers, right? So like, in my case, you know, people pay me for consultation calls all the time. And most of the people are asking me relationship advice, travel advice, or advice on social media. Like on how to, and so why do they do that? Is because they can see that I'm probably gonna be good at that. They look at my Instagram and it's like me with 8 women around me, 20 photos in a row. A guy who's doing that probably might know a thing or two about women, right? Also, a guy that has 500,000 subscribers and 100 million views on YouTube might know a thing or two about YouTube, right? So if you can create an audience around something, then eventually people are willing to pay you for information. At least that's the personal way that I do it. So there's a lot of ways to make money online. I would never like dare to give advice on something that I haven't already done. So that's the route I've chosen, and that's the route that I would probably say that people could try to replicate. You know what I mean? Cool. Do you ever see yourself getting married or having kids?
Having kids, yes. Getting married, no. I don't see. There's no reason to get married, in my opinion.
Do you think most guys can do what you do?
On the harem quest, no. That's for sure. I mean, I have 7 years of experience under my belt when it comes to like meeting girls online, meeting girls in foreign countries. I don't really work. I have 16 hours a day, every day, to meet up with anybody anytime. I'm really fast on the phone. I have an assistant that helps. Like, to do what I'm doing, you have to have a lot of time, first of all. And the skill set it's not like most guys, like what they do is they'll go on a couple dates, but they don't have a frame of reference for like how many they could go on, or like how hot of girls they could get, or speed. Like one of the students for the Millionaire Social Circles, he's been in Colombia for 10 days. He hasn't had a date yet, right? Dude, I'm meeting girls like within the first 4 hours of me landing. It's because I do my online dating before I get here. I have good pictures, and again, I have 7 years of traveling. I have 7 years of awesome photos. I have me feeding giraffes like on top of jeeps. I have like, awesome photos all around the world. Like, I have a huge infrastructure of like content that shows who I am. A lot of guys think that they can just like roll out of a plane and like do the harem quest with like no good pictures and no skill set on texting and like no money. It's like, I mean, dude, you got to be able to provide the fun, and you have to have the time to go through with all the texting. Like, dude, here's an example. Like, here's my, I'm running ads right now. I turned them off. So like this was about 2 days of ads. So let's let load. So I got 109 messages from girls, and I spent $15. And this is in the span of about 1 day, right? So like, this is 1 day, and my first 2 days was 200 DMs. So that means my first 5 days here, I have 300 and something women contacting me. How do you do that? How does a normal guy who's like busy talk to 300 women? You just can't, right? Now for me, I have scripts on my phone. I don't even type. So like, let's say for example, like here, let me open up like a blank chat or something. Let me open up like a random chat. It doesn't matter. So like right here, like let's say I want to type something. I hit 000, boom, 111, boom, GGG, boom. See, I have all these things that I'm not even typing. Like I don't even have to. Well, some of these are not exactly. But yeah, I have like pre-written messages that are pre-written that I don't even. So that's
fucking cool.
Most of the time, I don't even have to type. So like the girl DMs me and I just respond. So like or like 888. Like that. You know what I mean? So I have my entire keyboard is decked out with like tons of different pre-written, or I have a pinned clipboard. So like here's my WhatsApp. I can just like boom. So here's a WhatsApp link. So if they tap that, it automatically goes to me.
That's dope as fuck.
So see that how it automatically messaged me?
Right.
So for me, like I'm literally doing this with one hand, right? So all of this is pre-done. All of this is pre-set up. So I can just simply just go faster. And so, talking to 300 girls is a challenge if you don't have a setup, if you don't have a system. So yeah.
So like, what is your goal in like, bro? Is it like happiness, money? What's the ultimate purpose?
So for me, pursuing novelty, spending quality time with men who share similar values as you, that's a big thing. Staying free, staying healthy, and avoiding stress, avoiding violence. I think, these are not goals, but these are simply like values, I put a high premium on my liberty. I have a high premium on my mobility. I've said no to a lot of opportunities just because it required that I lose my mobility. Like I've had people say like, hey, we're willing to pay you a lot of money for this marketing. You just have to locate yourself in this place for 4 months. And I'm like, no. And they're like, but why? It's like, because I have to be in one place. Or like people who want me to work with them. No. I value my freedom. I like the fact that I can wake up in the morning and, 99 out of 100 days, my only decision is, well, what do I want to do? So for me, success is defined as what percentage of your time is spent doing what you want to do. So most people, when you look at their day, like let's say that you work at Bank of America, So you wake up at 8:30 in the morning, you get up, you brush your teeth, you put on your clothes, you drive your car to Bank of America, you're there for 8 hours, then you go home. Maybe you go on the computer, maybe you watch some TV, maybe you watch some porn or something, maybe you play some Xbox, and then you go to sleep. What percentage of that day was that guy spending doing what he wanted to do? So at the beginning, maybe brushing his teeth, he enjoyed that. So let's say the whole day was 13 hours or 14 hours. How many of those hours were actually spent doing what he wants? So with most people, it's a low percentage.
Right.
So for me, success is having that percentage be really high. So in my case, my percentage is really high because the only time that I ever do something I don't want to do, it's like maybe like going through airport security, arguing with someone, the occasional work requirement. Maybe I have to like call the bank, but anything else, my assistant does everything. My assistant does all my laundry. She cleans everything. She's going to the store for me. Everything. So all the things I don't want to do are outsourced. So the percentage of my time spent doing what I want can go as high as it can go. To me, success is doing what you want to do. And it doesn't matter if you make a lot of money or not. My business partner, Mike, probably makes 10 times more money than I do, but he has like 10 times less life that he lives.
True. So who's really winning in the end of the day?
Yeah. So he has a big house, but like, he has to deal with like, dealing with like the air conditioning breaking in like the backyard and like the bunny, cleaning the bunny. He's always having to clean bunny poop and like birds and electricity and like thinking about, being a homeowner is a big deal. He has students. He's constantly doing boot camps. It's like doing Zoom calls. I mean, the guy gets poor sleep because he's hustling so hard. So to some, you might say he's more successful because he has a lot more money than me, or he earns a lot more money than me. I mean, the guy, like, there's times where he'll talk about, having like, I don't want to get specific with numbers, but he'll have like a huge month that for me might even be my year. Like in a month, he might pull in enough more revenue than I would pull in a year, and he doesn't even think it's a big deal. But for me, I would consider myself more successful than him because his percentage of time spent doing what he wants is low and mine's high.
What do you think about like grinding like your friend really fucking hard for a year or two and then just being set?
Well, yeah, the whole purpose, look, it's like a plane. It takes a lot of fuel, it takes a lot of torture to get a plane in the sky. But once you're in the sky, then you can coast. So yeah, if you're, to build the life that I had to work at a carrot factory, I had to save money, I had to eat shit food and like go through, I went through a ton of crap. But once I built up a little bit of a thing, I had some savings, now I can coast because I'm writing on all the work that I create. So yeah, of course you have to hustle to get up there. But once you're up there, like you want to have a setup where you can kind of float on your work. You can kind of float on what you built. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So like I know some people who like the married life, like to come home to the wife and kids, like having a job and like what do you think about like setting your life up where you have nothing but free time and liberty, but it gets a little lonely because you don't have a wife to come home to, you don't have a job, you don't have a routine?
Yeah, well, look, that's a very legitimate critique. The thing is, like, this is an issue of creativity. People can't imagine, like, well, if I don't have a job, what do I do with all my time? Well, that's not a problem of having too much free time. It's a problem of creativity. You can have hobbies. You can go to the gym. You can have goals. Some traveling itself is an activity. Going to a new country is exhilarating. You go to a new place, no one knows who you are. You don't know anything. Yeah, you might wake up and maybe you go for a walk. You get some coffee, you go for a walk, you go on a date. Like, these are things that are not considered like structurally routine based, but they're fun. Besides, like, what is the purpose of a job? The purpose of a job is to earn an income. But why do you earn income?
To survive.
Well, you earn income to like pay for things. But like, why do you pay for things? Like, what do you actually want to do? That's the real question. And most people, they actually haven't thought about that. Most people haven't thought about what they would do if there was no, imagine, like, what would you do if everything was free? Like, really, like, close your eyes and imagine that every time you do anything, it doesn't cost you anything. You go to a restaurant, you order anything you want. You go on a plane, anywhere you want. If every single thing was free, the need for a job goes away, right? The need for income goes away. The concern of cost at all goes away. So now the only decision is, well, what are you going to do with your time? And most people don't think about that because they haven't even thought about the possibility of that being important. And it's only when you get your financial freedom and your liberty that you can start to think that way. And that's why doing things like traveling to a new country, pursuing a random goal like the Harem Quest. Like, I'm not doing that for any reason. I'm just doing that because it's fun. Or like, you know, like I'm always constantly trying to find like exotic women. Like, I met a midget in the Philippines. You know, like I went on a date with a girl wearing a full Islamic wardrobe, like, you know, a niqab. You know, I went to India totally alone, like for no reason. I'm like, wow, that'd be exciting. I walked the streets of India. I saw a cow. I saw a dead person. Like, I ate exotic restaurants. It was so fucking crazy. You know, I mean, this is living life.
Does it ever get like lonely, bro?
Yeah, it gets lonely, but I mean, look, there's other guys like me that I'm friends with. You know, I have a whole underground network of guys that are like, it's like 40 people, and we all meet up. And the Millionaire Social Circle is going to become that. So all the guys that are in the Millionaire Social Circle are exactly like me. They're all guys that have a lot of freedom and a lot of money, and they're kind of bored. So that's one of the things, is we're going to create a network of men who are like this that you can meet, and you know, we're all going to travel the world together. It's going to be fucking awesome.
That leads me to my last question. What is the Millionaire Social Circle?
So the Millionaire Social Circle is a program that we're launching. It's a 2-week immersion where you get to meet the students. We're going to focus on social media, meeting girls, going out. We're going to be renting boats, and like, we're going to be doing epic shit, and we're going to pull the cost. But me and Mike are going to focus on the students. We're going to deliver like insane social media for all the students, teach them about online game, teach them how to run Facebook ads, teach them how to use Tinder and all these different dating apps. We're gonna like listen in on their dates, we're gonna like basically brush up on everything. We're gonna go to the gym together, and we want it to be kind of like a secret men's club, where it's for guys who are ambitious and want to like level up. And so one of the benefits is you get Mike and I for 14 days in a row, but more importantly, you get access to a Telegram group, and you get to meet the other students. And all the other students are just like you. They're guys that can afford a program like this. They're guys who have a similar vision and like goals. And so it's like a really great opportunity for someone who maybe is already like retired early to actually like live their life to the fullest. So that's basically the Millionaire Social Circle in a nutshell. Yeah.
What's going on, Veronica?
What's that?
So how you like being Dave's assistant?
It's great, you know. I don't have time to get bored, and always I do a lot of different stuff, and he's great. He's great.
Do you think that all the girls that like you're with are loyal? Like, do they mess with other guys on the side or no?
So I'm pretty sure that most of them still flirt with guys and all that. This is what I had a video on this called polygamy and cheating, what are the rules? Because it's very unreasonable for me to expect all of them to like not go to discos and kiss guys and all that. It's not reasonable, because this relationship is not normal. All of us know that when you're dating a guy, if you're dating 1-1, that there's expectations about behavior, but this is so different. Almost every single girl I've ever talked to who says, I've never done this. They're like, I've never met a guy where I'm with the other girls together. It's so unusual. Let me put my hair. And for me, I don't talk about that. I don't tell the girls like, oh, you're not allowed to go on Tinder or nothing like that, because it's a little bit, first of all, that's not a good look anyway. It's kind of possessive and controlling. The only time that I draw a line in the sand is if the girl is really special to a point where I'm actually willing to help her quit her job. That's where I'll draw the line. So some girls have jobs. Well, almost all the girls have jobs. But if I'm encouraging them to quit their job,
right.
So like example is Nikki. You know, like Nikki quit her job because of me. And I basically said, Nikki, I'm pledging that if you quit your job and you do what I tell you to do, you should be able to support yourself and make more money. And I told her, I go, if it doesn't work, I'll support you. So I gave her a safety net. So if I'm taking an interest in a girl where I'm willing to get her to quit her job and try to pursue something with me where she's in my videos and she's a lot of money for doing that, then I'm gonna say like, look, I'm not gonna help you, or then you're going on dates.
Exactly. Right. I'm not spending money in your.
Well, because my whole thing is I always tell girls, like, this is how I think about it. If you bought a car and you found out, like, let's say you bought a car and you found out, hey man, some guy wanted to borrow your car, so I let him have the keys, and he's driving around. How'd you feel?
I'd be pissed, bro.
You'd be mad. You'd be like, dude, what the fuck? This is my car. Because you invested money into that. You care about the car now. You want to make sure it runs well. The oil changes. But now, if I said, hey, you know you're rent-a-car, I let my buddy borrow it, you're not going to care that much, right? Rent-a-cars we'll treat like shit because we're like, we'll run over the puddle, like, right? Because we're not invested in it. Exactly. It's just a rent-a-car. The difference between a girl who I'm helping and I'm not is that. So, for example, Darjan, I told her, she was working at a clothing store. I go, look, quit. If you quit, I'll replace whatever that job is paying you, I'll replace it. Because I know for a fact, if you do what I tell you to do, you'll make way more. So she was making $500 a month. The first month, doing what I told her to do, she made $3,000. So she made almost, she made like 6 months. She made 6 times more money doing what I told her. So obviously, I'm not gonna be like helping her that much and being okay with her like meeting some dork. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, really? It's like a rent-a-car versus so that's the line I'll draw. Is how much investment I am giving them. You know what I mean? Investment just means time and attention and care. But a lot of these girls, they're kind of crazy, they're kind of silly, they're young, and they're making mistakes. It's like, but here's another thing: is if I catch them having boyfriends, then I'm gonna cut it off because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with a jealous boyfriend. I don't want to deal with some guy getting mad or something like that. So they're all kind of, no, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. But they all know that if they were posting themselves on Instagram like kissing a guy, that I probably would feel a little bit like, I don't think I want to bite her anymore. Exactly. So it's like not a real thing. Besides like loyalty, quote unquote loyalty, like that's a value that's more about one-on-one. It's really hard to do that if you have 10 girlfriends. It's like, what are they being loyal to? Like, you know what I mean? They're being loyal to me, but like, what am I to them? I'm David, the guy that they meet up and we have fun and we joke around, but I'm not like their husband. You know what I mean? Some girls, if they would spend enough time, then I might get a little bit more emotionally attached and stuff. It's a work in progress. I have no idea. These are things that are new to me, so I don't know. I don't know the right answer.